All right, today we're going to learn how to use those trig ratios to find, in this case, something that's missing. So in this case, we're going to know the angle. Okay, so we know the angle, and that means we are going to find the length of the side. Okay, so we know the angle. The angle's here, 25 degrees, and we're going to find x down here, which is the length of the side. Okay, before we can do this, we need to manipulate our calculator a little bit. So if you get your calculator out, you turn it on. You can clear it out if you want. I just make sure it's not there. But we're going to change our mode. Okay, so we're going to hit the mode button, which is right here. Mode, and we are going to go down and go over 2 degrees and hit enter. Okay, we're going to change it to degree mode. That's very important, and we'll explain that later, and then we can quit out of there. Okay, so we're going to set it up. Let me see, we're going to set it up. We'll do this one here. This here, we have this angle 25 degrees. Now we have the opposite here, so this is the opposite. This should be our 90-degree angle, and this is our hypotenuse. So this is where you need to decide. We're using that SOHCAHTOA, and we have opposite and hypotenuse. So we need to decide which of the 3 trig functions are we going to use. Opposite, hypotenuse. So we're going to use sine. So we're going to say the sine of 25 degrees equals, again, it's the sine of the angle. So that equals, and then our opposite, so my opposite in this case is x over my hypotenuse, which is 18. All right, and then we can solve from there. We're solving for x. So we are going to multiply both sides by 18. That cancels, becomes 1x. Multiply by 18. So x equals 18 times the sine of 25 degrees. So in your calculator, you can do this separate if you want, but sine of 25 degrees gives us about that. So it's about 0.4226, whatever. Multiply by 18 gives you 7.6. You can do x equals 7.61 around there, wherever. Just round it to 2 decimal places is where I would like to be. All right, and that's just how far or how long x is. So we know the angle in this case, and we're looking for the side of the triangle. Let's do a few more, and we'll see if we can get it. All right, now in this case, we need to find x and y. So we're just going to set it up a little bit differently. I like to write SOHCAHTOA on my paper, just so I know, it's in the back of my mind, I can look at it. And again, if we're talking about 32 degrees, the 11 is opposite. The x is my hypotenuse, and the y is my adjacent. So we're going to set it up. We're going to use the opposite and hypotenuse first. So we can say the sine of the angle, which is 32 degrees, equals 11 over x. All right, we'll talk about how to solve that coming up. Well, actually, let's do that now. We're going to multiply. In this case, we can't have x in the denominator, so I'm going to multiply both sides by x. So x times the sine of 32 degrees equals 11. These cancel. And then we're going to divide by the sine of 32. Again, 32 degrees just represents a number. The sine of 32 degrees, I'm sorry. It just represents some number. Okay, so this cancels out. So x equals, and then you can do in your calculator, 11 divided by the sine of 32 gives me 20.76. So in this case, we found the hypotenuse, so it is 20.76. Now we're going to find y. In order to find y, we're using a little difference. So in order to find y, if you look at y, we're using the adjacent and the opposite. We have to use the number 11. We have to. All right? Then we're going to find the adjacent. So here, adjacent and hypotenuse, we're going to use tangent. So the tangent of 32 degrees equals, and then we have opposite, 11 over y. So we multiply both sides by y again. These cancel, and then we divide by tangent of 32. So 11 over tangent of 32. These cancel. So y equals this guy here. And you can do in your calculator 11 divided by the tangent of 32. All right, and 17.60. So in this case, y is 17.60. Okay, one thing you always want to check when you're done is you want to check and make sure, is my hypotenuse the largest side? So we have 11, this one is 17, this one's 20. So you can make sure that you get it, that you didn't make any mistakes in the middle. Okay? Same thing for this one. 57 is my focal point. That's the angle I'm looking for. So this is my opposite. This is my hypotenuse. This is my adjacent. And you can set those up. Okay? You can set them up the same way. The problems are all the same. All right, and we'll do a lot of those in class. The next lesson is going to be on when we don't know the angle. So if you notice this real quick, we're going to be looking for the angle, and we'll talk about that. It's a little bit more complicated, but we'll be fine.